The sealed Devil Gate breaks leads to triggers, a catastrophic eruption leads to a fire dragon devours everyone. Yet Wang Lin survives inside magma, grows stronger, and uncovers a terrifying secret about Mu Bingmei. I also share more audio content and updates on my website. Feel free to check the link in the description if you're interested. The fire origin energy within the 7th level of the Celestial Emperor Cave was incomparably dense. Most of all, the magma concealed within it was even richer. As Wang Lin absorbed vast quantities of this fire origin energy, it surged into his body and coiled around his origin soul, nurturing it. His origin soul had long since adapted to the nature of fire, and now it was being steadily replenished. A deep sense of comfort spread through Wang Lin's mind. Although he had consumed many pills on the 6th level and his injuries had partially healed, they were far from fully recovered. Yet at this moment, with the continuous absorption of fire origin energy, his wounds began to mend once more. The process was slow, painfully slow, but it gave him hope. By now, most cultivators had already entered the inner region of the volcano. Wang Lin let out a quiet sigh. During the month he had spent healing, he had questioned Wang Wei about a method to cure the 7th heaven poison. However, back in the celestial realm, both Wang Wei and Hu Juan had rarely encountered poison. Though they had heard of the 7th heaven poison and possessed some scattered knowledge, they lacked any true understanding. In the end, Wang Lin could only place his hopes on Celestial Emperor Qing Lin or Qing Shuang. Knowing he could not remain on the 7th level for long, Wang Lin took a deep breath. The origin energy within his body surged faster. A powerful suction force erupted from his hand as he drew in even more fire origin energy. Only then did he withdraw his hand. Without hesitation, Wang Lin leapt upward and shot into the volcano from above. At the same moment, the man in black also rose, approaching the volcano's peak from another direction. Wang Lin had long noticed that this man could absorb fire origin energy just as he could. Moreover, the mark between that man's brows made Wang Lin wary. Wang Lin did not rush. He moved upward like a gentle breeze, calm and unhurried, until he gradually reached the volcano's summit. There, a massive opening yawned at the top. Dense black fog drifted slowly outward from within. The heat was overwhelming. Even the surrounding rocks glowed a vivid red, an alarming sight. Wang Lin hovered above those crimson stones, his expression indifferent. The scorching temperature caused him no discomfort. Looking downward, he saw the volcano's interior shrouded in a fiery glow. Phantom-like black smoke flickered and occasionally surged upward. Without the slightest hesitation, Wang Lin stepped forward. Like a falling meteor, he plunged into the volcano. As he descended, his divine sense spread outward. The black smoke within abruptly dissipated before him. Waves of heat rushed toward him. As they neared, every pore on his body opened greedily, absorbing the fire origin energy contained within. A strange light flickered in Wang Lin's eyes as he sank deeper. Behind him, the man in black followed at a measured distance. He dared not approach too closely, unwilling to provoke Wang Lin's killing intent. Through brief contact, the man in black had already realized that Wang Lin was not someone to be trifled with. He was decisive, ruthless, and exceedingly cunning. Even Master Void had been repeatedly forced into dire situations, his cultivation greatly diminished. If anyone else had stood in Wang Lin's place, surrounded by so many powerful figures, they would have struggled to survive. Yet Wang Lin had manipulated pressure itself, turning it against his enemies and forcing Master Void into a desperate state. Recalling this, the man in black felt a chill, especially when he remembered Wang Lin's gaze and those arrogant words spoken on the 1st level. The aura Wang Lin displayed after driving Master Void away was unforgettable. Though he himself could absorb fire origin energy, he knew he was far inferior to the vermilion bird, sovereign of all flames. I wished to devour this man. Difficult, too difficult. He sighed inwardly. Wang Lin remained unaware of these thoughts. He moved faster and faster, continuously absorbing the incoming waves of heat. The deeper he descended, the more intense the heat became. The surrounding rocks were riddled with cracks. Their color deepened from red to a dark crimson, indicating an even stronger presence of fire poison. The volcanic walls were uneven, jagged with protruding rocks. Wang Lin's body flickered. He landed lightly on one such outcropping. The rock beneath him was dark red, emitting bursts of black gas. The moment he stepped onto it, fragments of gravel broke loose and fell into the depths below. Wang Lin inhaled sharply. In an instant, the powerful heat waves beneath him surged upward and were drawn into his mouth. It was as though he were devouring a sea of flames. The heat transformed into pure flame essence as it entered his body. Wang Lin stepped back, his face flushed red, yet his eyes shone with an intense brilliance. The origin energy within him surged wildly, rapidly refining the fire origin energy he had just consumed. 7 minutes later, Wang Lin lifted his head. A cold snort escaped his lips. Without pause, he continued his descent. Moments after he left, the man in black landed on the same rock. A trace of fear flickered in his eyes. To devour fire origin energy in such a manner, this man is insane. Fire origin energy was the most violent of all. Even he would not dare absorb it so recklessly. At most, he could only guide it carefully into his body. Wang Lin accelerated further. Soon he reached the bottom of the volcano. His gaze pierced through the waves of heat and drifting smoke, revealing everything below. At the base lay a vast sea of dark red magma. Bubbles would occasionally rise and burst, sending fierce heat waves surging upward. Black smoke followed, carried by the currents of heat. Above this molten sea, embedded within the volcanic walls, stood a palace. It was identical to the entrances found on the previous 6 levels, yet now its gate was tightly shut. Upon it was drawn a complex character in black blood. The word was extravagant, like a tattoo, yet not quite one. It exuded a maddening aura, as though it could overturn heaven and earth. The moment Wang Lin saw it, his pupils contracted. He recognized it. It was the language of the ancient gods, the same script used by the ancient demons and ancient devils. Devil. It was the word devil. Outside the palace, 2 factions had already formed. Wang Wei Hujuan and Bei Lo stood together. Opposite them were All-Seer and his companions. They floated in the air, all staring at the sealed gate. Ling Tianho, the old man atop the gourd, and the beautiful woman continuously unleashed spells, bombarding the gate. Yet due to the oppressive heat, the sounds of impact were fragmented, unable to carry far or echo clearly. Wang Lin's arrival drew Master Void's gaze. A trace of killing intent flickered in his eyes, but it was quickly suppressed. Wang Lin stepped forward and joined Wang Wei and Hu Juan. He studied the gate, frowning slightly. At that moment, Ling Tianho roared. The 4 origin swords behind him shot forward, slamming into the gate. The word devil flashed violently, yet remained unscathed. I cannot break the seal to the 8th level. Ling Tianho snorted coldly and retreated. The beautiful woman and the old man on the gourd also shook their heads, abandoning their attempts. Wang Wei and Hu Juan frowned deeply. They had already tried before and likewise failed. With this seal in place, entering the palace was impossible. Wang Lin stared at the word on the gate. He understood that with so many old monsters present, there was no need for him to act. He calmly sat down on a nearby rock, closed his eyes, and began cultivating. Even so, his vigilance never relaxed. Not far from him, the girl in pink stood upon a slightly lower rock. Snowflakes circled her, resisting the heat. Even the stone beneath her feet showed signs of freezing. Time passed slowly. The man in black had long since arrived. He hovered at a distance, cautious, his gaze fixed on the palace as he pondered. The word devil upon the gate contained an unimaginable sealing force. One after another, Wang Wei Hu Juan All-Seer and even Bei Lo took turns attacking it. In the end, both factions struck simultaneously. Their combined attacks broke through the oppressive heat. The resulting echoes shook the volcano, causing chunks of rock to collapse and fall. The rumbling grew louder and louder. The entire volcano trembled under the continuous assault. The magma below churned violently, as though stirred by an earthquake. Finally, with a decisive strike from Bei Lo, All the gathered spells merged into a colossal storm that swept toward the palace. A heaven-shaking explosion erupted. The volcano quaked. The magma roared. At last, the word devil on the gate shattered. The gate slowly opened. But in that very instant, a shocking transformation occurred. The instant the word devil faded away and the gate swung open, the sea of magma below began to churn with violent fury. Low, muffled roars rose from within, deep and oppressive. Then, with a thunderous bang, the magma surged upward, blasting into the sky. It was as if some unimaginable force was driving it from below. The volcano had erupted. A searing heat several times stronger than before spread in all directions as the magma surged. The terrifying temperature caused the surrounding rocks to fracture instantly. Before they could even fall, they were reduced to black vapor and swept upward. From outside the volcano, one would see the entire mountain trembling. Thick black smoke poured out far denser than before. It surged into the sky in massive waves as though it sought to blot out the heavens themselves. In the blink of an eye, the smoke covered the sky completely. No light could pass through. Only the magma glowing between the cracked earth provided a dim, flickering illumination. The moment the door inside the volcano opened, Beilu shot forward, rushing into the palace amid the wretched out and seized the beautiful woman. She cried out, attempting to evade, but she was too slow. Flames engulfed her in an instant, and she was dragged down into the magma. This sudden turn, shocked emanating from it, grew even more intense. Wang Wei and Hu Juan's expressions changed drastically. They clearly recognized the coffin. Without hesitation, they each formed hand seals, then merged them together. Their bodies turned transparent, and in a flash they bypassed everyone and rushed into the palace. The moment they entered, the coffin shattered violently. Countless fragments scattered downward toward the others. At the same time, a red-robed old man stepped out from within. There was no trace of vitality in him. Only a dense aura of death surrounded his body. The instant he appeared, he charged straight toward the group. The All-Seer's eyes gleamed. His lips moved silently, as though he were chanting something. In the next moment, the red-robed old man froze in place. Seizing that brief pause, the All-Seer flicked his sleeves and rushed toward the palace. But just then, the red-robed old man's body collapsed. From within, a roar burst forth and a sea of flames surged out, transforming into a fire dragon that lunged to devour everything. The girl in pink, surrounded by drifting snowflakes, turned pale. She rushed toward the palace as well. But before she could enter, her body transformed into a streak of light and was inhaled by the fire dragon. Everyone was focused on escaping into the palace, abandoning all else. Wang Lin had already left his position and shot forward. Yet just as he was about to enter, Master Void, who was last to step inside, suddenly turned around. His gaze was cold as it locked onto Wang Lin. Before Master Void could act, the fire dragon arrived. Its body was enormous, vast enough to swallow the entire palace. A powerful suction force surged forth. Wang Lin felt his body pulled uncontrollably, and together with the palace, he was devoured by the fire dragon. The dragon consumed everything, then plunged back into the magma. The moment it dove in, the magma churned even more violently. It surged upward faster and faster until it erupted once more from the volcano, spreading across the sky. Then it fell back to the ground in blazing torrents like rain. Only after a long time did the chaos subside. The volcano gradually fell silent, leaving only thick black smoke drifting upward. The magma sank back into the depths, and the crater returned to stillness. But the palace had vanished. Deep within the molten depths, however, the devoured palace reappeared. It was now completely surrounded by magma. Even from within, the unbearable heat could be felt pressing in from all sides. In the distance, Wang Lin's figure emerged within the magma. The intense heat did not harm him. Instead, it eased his injuries. The dense magma wrapped around him, filled with an immeasurable amount of fire origin energy. The vermilion bird tattoo on his body shone brilliantly, emitting faint cries of the vermilion bird. He sat down and slowly sank deeper. He stopped about 10,000 feet away from the palace. Forming hand seals, he began to absorb the dense fire origin energy into his body. As he absorbed it, his entire body turned crimson. Time passed slow and silent. After an unknown span, Wang Lin opened his eyes. The surroundings were utterly still. The origin energy within him had not diminished. On the contrary, it had grown even more vigorous. After a brief moment of contemplation, time flowed on. As Wang Lin continued, the magma gradually diminished. During this period, he awakened 3 times. Each time it was due to violent fluctuations in the magma that triggered another volcanic eruption. Whenever he awakened, he would carefully observe the eruption. Once it ended, he would sink back into cultivation. On this day, Wang Lin awakened for the 4th time. Although the magma still contained vast amounts of fire origin energy, he no longer dared to continue absorbing it. As he cultivated, he had begun to merge with the magma itself. Faintly, he sensed a strange spirit lurking within. If he absorbed too much, he might disturb it. According to his judgment, that strange spirit was likely the fire dragon that had devoured everything. After a moment of thought, Wang Lin slowly rose and walked toward the palace within the magma. But after only a few steps, he suddenly halted. Ahead, a bubble was drifting slowly toward the palace. He observed it carefully. A strange expression appeared on his face. At the same time, the people inside the bubble noticed him. There were 2 figures within, the girl in pink and the beautiful woman who had been dragged into the magma. The beautiful woman was unconscious. Her entire body glowed red, as though she stood on the brink of death. As for the girl in pink, the snowflakes that once surrounded her had vanished. In their place, a snowflake rune flickered between her brows, releasing waves of cold energy that allowed her to survive within the bubble. The moment she saw Wang Lin approaching, her eyes filled with shock and fear. She knew of his vermilion bird awakening, but she had never imagined that he would remain completely unharmed within the magma, moving as though he stood upon solid ground. No wonder those people fear the 4 divine sect so deeply. After the vermilion bird awakens, one gains such terrifying resistance to fire. She stared at him, her heart trembling. She had been trapped within the magma for several months, unable to move freely. By fortune, she had found the unconscious woman. Yet the sudden acceleration destabilized the bubble. It trembled violently, as though it might collapse at any moment. But she could not care about that. She forced it forward, closing the distance rapidly. Wang Lin's expression remained indifferent as he stepped toward them. His figure drew closer and closer. The girl in pink grew increasingly anxious. She did not know his intentions, but she knew of the past conflict between Wang Lin and the beautiful woman's group. In her mind, he had come to kill. When he was only a few hundred feet away, she could no longer endure it. "Wang Lin," she cried out urgently, "your feud is with Master Void. The 2 of us have no enmity with you." Wang Lin's expression remained cold. In a single step, he crossed the distance of several hundred feet and arrived beside the bubble. His gaze was icy as it fell upon the girl in pink and the beautiful middle-aged woman. The girl's eyes were filled with vigilance. The snowflake rune upon her brow shone brightly. At this moment, she was extremely tense. She had no means to stop Wang Lin from doing anything. The only thing she could rely on was the snowflake mark between her eyebrows. It was the life-saving treasure her senior sister had left her. Wang Lin looked at her and sent out a strand of divine sense. "Are you the brilliant Void Saintess?" His divine sense merged with the surrounding magma. A ripple spread outward, causing the bubble around the girl to tremble violently, as though it might shatter at any moment. The girl's face turned pale at once. She bit her lower lip, shook her head, and said, "I am not the brilliant Void Saintess. My senior sister is." Wang Lin pointed toward the beautiful woman. "What is your relationship with her?" "She is my elder in the brilliant Void realm." The girl did not dare to withhold an answer. If Wang Lin shattered this bubble, the middle-aged woman would immediately fall into the magma. She was already deeply afflicted by fire poison. If she fell, the poison would worsen or her soul would be destroyed outright. Although Master Void harmed you and now stood directly before her, put away your treasure. Wang Lin entered the bubble and crouched beside the unconscious middle-aged woman. A strange light flickered in his eyes. As for the girl in pink, he did not consider her a threat at all. Even with the snowflake treasure, she held no weight in his eyes. "What are you doing?" The girl's heart pounded violently. When she saw Wang Lin's finger move toward the middle-aged woman's brow, she was about to shout for him to stop. But just as she prepared to act, Wang Lin did not even turn around. He casually pointed a finger. Noisy. The stop spell was instantly cast. The girl in pink froze in place. Though her body was immobilized, the snowflakes around her split into countless fragments and encircled her tightly, forming a dense defense. Wang Lin ignored her completely. His right index finger pressed against the middle-aged woman's brow. Taking advantage of her weakened and unconscious origin soul, his divine sense swept into her mind. Her memories unfolded within Wang Lin's consciousness. Though her cultivation exceeded his divine sense still traversed her memories without obstruction. Whether she lived or died was of no importance. What he sought were her memories. All memories related to the brilliant void realm were of great value to him. The true reason he needed this information was the figure that had caused him immense pain, the one he had glimpsed when his divine sense once spread across the brilliant void realm at the peak of the Nirvana Scryer stage. As his divine sense moved through her memories, Wang Lin gradually came to understand the brilliant void realm. His expression grew increasingly solemn, yet none of this was what he sought. As he continued searching, the middle-aged woman's body trembled slightly. Her eyelashes quivered. A flush spread across her beautiful, mature face, enough to stir the heart of any who saw it. The probing of her soul made it impossible for her to suppress the fire poison. Signs of eruption began to appear. The girl in pink grew anxious. Hatred filled her eyes as she stared at Wang Lin, yet she lacked the strength to resist his stop spell. Then, as Wang Lin searched deeper, he suddenly paused. He had found what he was looking for. Within her memories stood an arrogant figure. It was the same person Wang Lin had seen when his divine sense swept across the brilliant void realm. Brilliant void Sentess Mu Bingmei. Wang Lin's expression became complicated. He slowly withdrew his right index finger. The middle-aged woman held great reverence for the saintess, yet she knew little. She only knew that the saintess cultivated an extremely strange method. Once completed, it would make her the strongest existence in the brilliant void realm. Unfortunately, this method was exceedingly difficult. Aside from the first generation, Saintess none had succeeded. However, it seemed that this seventh generation, Saintess Mu Bingmei, had achieved a measure of success. Liu Mei, Mu Bingmei. A sharp pain surged through Wang Lin's mind. Within the heaven-defying bead, Wang Ping showed faint signs of awakening, stirred by the fluctuations of Wang Lin's thoughts. At the thought of Wang Ping, it felt as though Wang Lin's heart was being cut by a blade. Wang Ping had only ever expressed one wish in his life. He had spoken of it once, and after receiving no answer, he never mentioned it again. He had wanted more than anything to see his mother, just once. Wang Lin stood up silent, deep in thought. He looked at the girl in pink. From the middle-aged woman's memories, he now knew that this girl was Liu Mei's junior sister. She cultivated the same method. Her relationship with the middle-aged woman was not simple. The woman had watched her grow up before she became Liu Mei's junior. Wang Lin's eyes turned cold. He spoke calmly. "If I do not save her, she will certainly die within 15 minutes. The middle-aged woman's body had turned a strange demonic red. Sweat poured from her, only to evaporate into white vapor in an instant. If this continued, it would not be long before she withered into a corpse. Her origin soul would be destroyed. Even if Wang Lin had not searched her memories, she would not have lasted much longer. Perhaps a little more time, but the result would be the same. We can make a deal. I will save her. I will take both of you into the palace, into the 8th floor. In return, you will allow me to search your memories." Wang Lin's tone was calm. He gave her a choice. If she agreed, all would be well. If not, he would act. The girl in pink gave a bitter smile. She could see the resolve in Wang Lin's words. She was intelligent. She naturally understood that he sought something within her memories. From his behavior, she could tell he was searching for something related to her senior sister. Even if she refused, it would be meaningless. She nodded, abandoning resistance. Wang Lin said nothing further. With a wave of his sleeve, he gathered the two women and stepped out of the bubble. Then he shot forward at great speed. Before long, he reached the palace and entered. Once inside, Wang Lin formed a seal with his right hand and pointed. The magma surged outward, expelled from the palace. When not a trace of lava remained, the gate closed with a heavy rumble. Though the magma was gone, the heat within remained intense. Wang Lin waved his sleeve, placing the two women to the side. He extended his right hand. The beautiful woman's body floated toward him. Without hesitation, Wang Lin struck multiple points across her body. He paid no heed to her being a woman. Each strike caused her face to flush even deeper. After 7 minutes, her body had turned almost completely red. Wang Lin pressed his palm against her forehead. A powerful suction force erupted from his hand. The fire poison within her body surged out, flowing into Wang Lin. Gradually, her body returned to normal. Yet she was extremely weak and collapsed to the side. "Now it is your turn." Wang Lin looked at the girl in pink. She bit her lower lip. After a moment of hesitation, she sat down. With her right hand, she pointed at her brow. The surrounding snowflakes slowly faded away. She closed her eyes and remained still. Wang Lin held no other thoughts. To him, this was merely an exchange. His right hand reached forward and pressed against her brow. His divine sense spread out, entering her mind. Her body trembled, yet she gritted her teeth. Though the search of memories was harmful, Wang Lin was not excessively tyrannical. As long as she did not resist, he would not force his way through. In the end, everything depended on whether she completely relinquished resistance. As Wang Lin searched, he gradually came to understand more about Mu Bingmei. After a long time, he withdrew his hand. His expression grew even more complex. Heavenly Soul Tao. To treat the heavens Tao as having a soul and to cultivate this Tao through countless avatars. Through many experiences, one cultivates many different methods, retains the original heart, and gains countless domains. In the end, all avatars merge as one to complete the heavenly soul Tao. This was the supreme cultivation method of the brilliant void realm. Only the first-generation saintess had succeeded. All others had failed, losing their original hearts and perishing. Mu Bingmei, the 7th-generation saintess, had found an unexpected shortcut. Using her ruthless domain, she altered the process. When forming an avatar, she did not allow it to retain her memories. Instead, she sent it into the world to live independently. The avatar would develop its own consciousness, unaware of the original body. Only when its cultivation reached a certain level would memory inheritance activate, allowing it to merge back with the original. The heavens Tao was ruthless. Thus, her avatars must also be ruthless. Unlike the previous saintesses who created countless avatars, she had only 9. She had calculated everything far in advance, selecting the planets where they would be placed. After countless years, the first 8 avatars had all awakened, each retaining a virgin body. But the 9th avatar on planet Suzaku encountered an accident. As for the nature of this accident, the girl in pink did not know. She only knew that the 9th avatar was named Liu Mei and that it had driven her senior sister into struggle. I also share more audio content and updates on my website. Feel free to check the link in the description if you're interested.